Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to prepare a steak that includes a secret ingredient that adds an extra layer of flavor to the meat. Let's get started. I'm going to start with 3 heads of garlic. I'm just going to cut the tops off. We're going to roast this garlic off. Add it to some tin foil, put some olive oil over the top, and wrap these up nice and tight. Got my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 205 Celsius. I'm going to pop these in for about a half hour. Just over a half hour later, let these cool down a bit. Garlic's roasted down, softened up. Now we can take out the garlic, just squeeze it right into a bowl. Once all the garlic's removed, I'll grab some fresh rosemary and give that a fine chop. About a tablespoon of rosemary here. Add our chopped rosemary to the garlic mixture. And I got a tablespoon of sherry vinegar. We're going to add this to our garlic and our rosemary mixture. I'm going to take a fork and just smash this down. Combine all those ingredients. That's ready to go. We'll set this aside. Show you what we do with this in a little bit. Meantime, we'll grab our steak. I've got a bone-in ribeye steak here. I let this sit out to room temperature. That's a really important step. You want your steak to come to room temperature to ensure even cooking. If you just take it right out of the fridge and it's ice cold, it's not going to cook evenly. Second thing you want to do is grab a paper towel and make sure your meat is dry. Remove as much moisture as you can. This way you get a nice sear on the meat. Now we're going to season our steak with salt, and you want to season from high above. This way the salt evenly distributes over the steak. Make sure you get both sides. And I'm only going to season with salt here, and I'm going to add fresh cracked pepper once the steak is cooked. This way the pepper won't burn in the pan. So I got my pan here, and you want to get this smoking hot. I got a cast iron pan. This is ceramic cast iron. I'm going to add some avocado oil here. You want to use an oil with a high smoke point. Grapeseed oil is great for this as well. Once the pan is smoking, we're going to gently add the steak into the pan, making sure that the steak is put down away from us. Make sure all points of the steak are making good contact with the pan, and now you just want to leave it alone. You want to get that good hard sear. If you keep checking it and flipping it every 5 seconds, the steak is not going to get that good hard sear that we're looking for. We're going to let this go about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. After a couple of minutes, we'll give it a flip. Again, very careful. And you can see we're getting a nice sear on the steak, even browning across the whole thing. Alright, let this go about another 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. I'm looking for a doneness of medium well, so I'm going to finish this in the oven. Otherwise, I could just finish this right in the pan. I'll list all the temperatures in the description of the video. So another couple of minutes later, I'm going to add a knob of butter to the pan, about a tablespoon, and a sprig of fresh rosemary, just to add another depth of flavor to our steak. And again, if I was looking for a medium rare or a medium, I would finish this in the pan, but I'm just going to pop this in my oven, which is still preheated, for about 5 minutes or so. After 5 minutes, I remove the steak. It's at my desired temperature, and now the most important step is you want to let this steak rest. If you were to just take it out and cut it open, all the juice would just run all over your board, and the steak would be very tough. So I'm just going to put this on a wire rack, let this hang out at least 5 minutes or so. But while the steak is resting, I'm going to bring back that garlic and rosemary and sherry vinegar mixture and just put that right over the steak. And what that's going to do is seep into the meat as it's cooling down, as it's resting, and just add another depth of flavor to the steak. Just take a spatula and evenly spread that roasted garlic mixture over the top of the steak. It's important not to have big globs of roasted garlic. It's obviously going to overpower the flavor of the steak. That looks good. Let this rest, minimum of 5 minutes. Alright, our steak is rested. Now I'm just going to grab a torch here and just put that over the roasted garlic mixture. Of course, if you don't have a torch, just pop this in the broiler about 20 to 30 seconds. This is really going to tack on that garlic mixture to the steak, and it's going to reheat the steak a bit. This looks good. We're ready to slice this up. I'm just going to remove the layers of outer fat here from our steak and the bone, of course. You can see no juice is coming out of the steak. It's all in the meat, not on my cutting board. Now we'll just make even, uniform slices of our steak. See, that's a perfect medium well. Again, no juice on my board. That garlic mixture is tacked onto the steak. Once it's cut, fan out the meat a bit, make it look nice. Finish with some Maldon sea salt. And that's a nice ribeye steak right there. Of course, there's many ways to cook a steak, but I really encourage you to give this method a try. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.